Hi, Married at First Sight fans. Welcome back to the channel. Shantia's new chapter. I keep forgetting what my channel's called. But yes, today we're doing another review for Married at First Sight. This is for season 15, episode 12. So this episode delved further into the couple's intimacy. So both physical and emotional intimacy, we are able to get some insight to what's going on. How are these couples developing? How are they growing? So make sure you stay for the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I like to look at your guys' comments, which I got a peek at one of them, and I gotta say it made my day. I'm gonna go ahead and look at your guys' comments, and we're gonna discuss what you guys have to say, what you brought up. Okay, so let's just dive right into this episode, starting with our first couple, which is Lindy and Miguel. So, I mean, there really wasn't anything big that showed up with Lindy and Miguel. They're both staying consistent and, committed to the experience, committed to each other, and they got a baby. Out of all the couples, you obviously they must be doing well because they got a baby to test a robot baby, mind you, that they get to experience and experiment with and seeing their caretaking abilities. So I think you guys already noticed that obviously Miguel is just like, he's ready, right? He's ready for this. As soon as he saw the baby, he grabbed that baby and he just locked it right in his arms. And I think Lindy was a little bit more hesitant. So I was kind of seeing her immaturity show up with that experience between the two of them. What I like about Lindy and Miguel is the humor and the comedy and how they laugh. And I feel like humor is just so important in relationships. It really keeps things alive and revitalized and exciting because life can get too serious. And I know one of the things that my parents have down packed is humor. So that's what they taught me. Humor, humor, humor. Make sure you laugh, and don't lose that spark because it's part of what keeps you guys together. It's part of what helps to invite this like best friend vibe into the relationship and into that experience. I think Lindy, other than the baby part where she was like, "Oh my gosh, this baby's been keeping me up," she's very funny, and I do enjoy her humor. Sometimes I do think she talks a lot and she can dominate the conversation, but Miguel does have those opportunities to make his point, and I think he's consistent. And as long as he's enjoying her company, that's what matters the most. The only thing that really I didn't like about this episode that Lindy said was um, that she talked about buying. Sorry, I see it in my head and then I say it wrong. But she talked about Ben and his situation with Morgan and how, oh my gosh, he just needs to get it together. He just needs to get it together. Now, here's the thing. It's kind of dangerous to take sides, especially if you're only seeing one perspective. And I would be very careful and cognizant and aware of what I'm saying to the camera, especially because this is like a broader audience, because it really just made her come off as really, really immature. And I didn't appreciate those comments because, as we all know, Morgan has been like stretching this situation out as far as she can, and it's unnecessary. Unfortunately, if you don't have the self-awareness or the maturity to see that, yikes. So just make sure you're always understanding two sides of the situation before you openly comment. And she talked about Ben being a bitch. She called him that on TV. And I thought that was so immature and I did not appreciate that. I thought that was like I was so turned off from her saying that because I'm like, excuse me, first of all, this is your friend's husband, right? It, this is her legal husband. I would not talk about someone else's husband in that way, shape, manner. I feel like I'm like halfway in the frame. I would not talk about someone else's partner that way. And she said it to Morgan. She said it amongst the women. So I don't care what your opinion is. You always respect the other person's partner. You treat that person like they're human. So I just thought that was extremely immature, and we're gonna see again how that immaturity holds up in her relationship. So I like to think that some people are mature, even if they're in their 20s and there's like a 5-year age gap and that they can handle being with someone older. But it's just time and time again when I'm seeing these age gap relationships on Married at First Sight, for the most part, the women are just they are of the maturity and the men are significantly more mature. So I don't really know what's going on. I know uh, I don't know. It just depends, I guess, where you're at. I guess I am a bit of an old soul and I do tend to just get along with older people, so it just makes sense. But I just sometimes I was talking to my dad, I'm like, I don't understand why people are immature. But to be honest, when I do talk to people my age, I'm not really around a lot of people my age. That's the thing. When I do talk to people my age, some of them are immature. So it's maturity is a choice. It's not an age, but I'm often seeing that these women with these age gap with the men are more immature. Like as of they're a representation of their age. So that's all I'm going to say about her. I'm kind of like going off. So the next couple we're going to talk about is Kristen and Mitch. Oh, last thing I want to say about like Lindy and Miguel is I think they're moving in a positive direction. I think things are going well between the two of them. Other than that, I have nothing to say, and I wish the best for them. Moving on to Kristen and Mitch. So some of the main issues that came up with Kristen and Mitch was the sexual intimacy, the awkwardness, and how upset that she got with Mitch. So I'm starting to notice something. There's like a dynamic shift that's happening. Whereas Kristen was overcompensating, now she's kind of pulling away, and it's like the tables have turned. Because, yeah, it's in her body language and it's in her expression. So the main thing that I was picking up with Kristen, and I think that like the biggest insecurity there, it's he's triggering something in her. So this is the thing. It's not something that just showed up when Mitch showed up. He's waking up something inside of her. It's like this exasperation feeling of wanting to be supported. Why don't you just support me? Why are you challenging me? Because I think her story, even prior to him, has nothing to do with him. He's just triggering the situation even further. Is she's always felt like she's been challenged. Her life has been challenging and she's been trying to overcompensate. And I think her being with Mitch on this show has just heightened things to the point where she's kind of at her breaking point altogether and she's just done with it, which is great. You know, a breaking point is great. It doesn't feel good, but it's great for getting a lot of insight about what you need and being true to who you are and realigning yourself with being honest with yourself about what you, I'm just repeating myself, about what you need. So that's the silver lining in this is that she's starting to become aware of her needs, but just make sure you're also aware it has nothing to do with it's just him or he's doing it. It's an experience. So people are mirrors. We have to remember this, right? Dr. Pastor Cal says this all the time. It's not about, you two are fighting. You're not enemies. It's the problem. You're trying to solve or resolve a problem. You need to pay attention and focus on resolving the problem together as opposed to him against her. No, we're solving a problem. So the problem here is I feel challenged. Now we need to reflect. Why do I feel that feeling? Why is it the minute he says, oh, hey, by the way, you didn't get that question right, it triggers me and it makes me feel upset. And now I don't feel supported. So I think altogether, I can only imagine with someone having overcompensated for so long in relationships and given so much of herself in relationships, you would have to be at a breaking point. But just make sure you're aware it has nothing to do with your partner. It has everything to do with you, your energy, and you being honest with yourself and owning your desires. So if you own your desires energetically, your partner will shift to meet you where you need them to meet you. So don't get overwhelmed and be like, "Oh my God, it's not him. He's just triggering it inside of you." You can see as she's expressing her desires, he's receptive, right? As she's communicating, he's receptive. He's like, oh, okay, let me find ways to do this better. The other thing that came up was the sexual intimacy between the two of them. Apparently, they were having a moment of bed and he started joking and he jokes a lot because he's insecure. He's feeling insecure and he's getting nervous. So this is one of those areas where I say you both just have to, someone just has to give, right? Okay, you're insecure about, your sexual intimacy, therefore you joke around a lot. And your partner is turned off by it, but just communicate that to him and just be like, okay, it's kind of a turn off, like reassure them. Like sometimes we do forget, like just because they're men doesn't mean their feelings don't get hurt. They process feelings differently, and they're also taught to be more in their logical mind. But with you, their walls come down. So they're still very much in that mode of like their feelings can get very hurt very easily. Just like think about like a little boy with his parents or his mother. It's like the same openness when it comes to their partner. They get hurt very easily by you. So just because they're a man, right, doesn't mean that they don't get hurt. Doesn't mean you can just say anything at them versus a female friend. His feelings get hurt too, especially by you, because those feelings are special when it comes to you. Those are what he shares with you. So if he feels that betrayal of trust with his feminine counterpart, now he's going to, those insecurities are going to double. So my thing from her, my advice would be an ideal world is just reassure him and be like, okay, I understand that you think this is funny, but honestly, it's a bit of a turnoff for me. And I want a little bit more attentiveness. I want a little bit of romance instead of being like, where's the romance? Where's the, that's not really going to get it. That's not really going to get them, having that, what Mina, the universe guru, calls that gut reaction towards you and wanting to come towards you. It's going to actually turn on their mind and they're going to be like, oh, what am I doing wrong? You don't want him to get in his mind about intimacy with you. You want him to get more in the emotional space. And so like bring him into that, and most definitely with women, because we have that ability to do that. Again, this is why it's important to own your own desires. If you can own your own desires, then you can help to like reassure your partner and bring them into that experience. Of course, there's always like an exchange. There's a give and take. We always, we're there to reassure each other. But at the same time, I'm just like, if he's communicating that he's insecure, then reassure him. Hey, it's going to be okay. So that we both can get what we want. We can find a compromise and we can make this work. Yes, so Dr. Pia met with all the couples. I thought she did a really good job, except with Morgan and Ben, and we'll get to them we'll get to them last. But for the most part, I thought she brought up some really good points with the couples. So the other thing, what else did I want to talk about? So the last part I want to talk about is that Kristen sometimes has a habit of making demands, right? If I don't have love by the end of this, I'm just like, first of all, you can't demand love. That makes no sense. Love is a gift. Emotions are a gift. And even so, there's a way to approach it as opposed to a business contract and being like, okay, I need this amount of, kind of like Stacia was doing. Like, I need love on this many days and by this date. It's just like, it's such a turn off for so many people. And you just have to be more in tune with yourself to know that, emotionally, we're trying to create an emotional connection. That takes a little bit more of a spontaneity. It takes more presence, observing your partner and really seeing what one another needs. But there are times where I think Kristen, she gets into that masculine energy. She starts to take too much action, make demands, and she kind of disconnects. And I think that disconnection was also created in her previous partnership as well, right? She starts to get to this point where I'm like, okay, I'm doing everything. You don't have to do everything. That's the thing. You don't have to do everything. Women, we don't have to do everything. We just like put it on ourselves to believe this and create this dynamic. Maybe because it's what we saw growing up. We saw our mothers do everything. You don't have to do everything, and you most certainly should not, because it's going to make you miserable and it's going to make him miserable too. Believe it or not. And a lot of women don't understand that. Like, it's going to make him miserable too, but you have to switch up your energy. Okay, so the next couple we're going to talk about is, who's our next couple? Alexis and Justin. Okay. How are you guys feeling about Alexis and Justin? How are you guys feeling? I think a lot of people are feeling pretty hopeless when it comes to Alexis and Justin because they're at the exact same place that they were since they got back from the honeymoon. It's just not making any kind of progress. It is a little weird, like seeing them make out sometimes. I'm just like hearing each other call each other babe. But this is what I've come to understand. It's clear what Justin wants. He wants this partnership. And it's also clear, yes, he's sensitive and emotional, but it's also clear why he's acting up. Because Alexis is giving two different kind of energies. She's switching up her energy left and right. So one point, yeah, I want to be in this relationship. Another point, oh no, I don't want to be in this relationship. She told Dr. Pia, their therapist, no, I can't see myself married to him. And I'm like, why would you say that? Obviously that would be hurtful. But here's the thing. She's like, at one point, I don't know if she said it in this episode or the last episode, I'm a great woman. And that told me all that I needed to know. Because here's the thing. Even if you believed it, I wouldn't say it. And I wouldn't most definitely, there's no reason. I'm like, if you really believe that you are a phenomenal person, to me, the people who are truly great or whatever of that high level, of that high status, they don't talk about it. They don't have to. There's nothing they're trying to prove. So who are you trying to prove that you're a great woman. Obviously, if you're going around displaying it and advertising it, there's something going on here. Okay, well, you can do what you want to do, but I'm a great woman. Okay. Tell me how that works out in your relationship dynamic. So she was talking about that hyper independence. Um, I've heard her at times, it seems like there's a little bit of self awareness where she's like, oh, yeah, I'm hyper independent. I should be willing to give a little more or do this a little bit more. And then she just totally backtracks out of the whole experience. Um, and the the solution I've come to is that Alexis doesn't know what she wants. She just goes around pretending she does. I don't think she knows what she wants. A lot of people are saying she's not attracted to Justin. What do you guys think about that? That she's not attracted to Justin? I don't honestly. I that's a possibility for sure. That could most definitely be a possibility that she's not attracted to him. Either way, with her energy, it's not sincere. And that's the biggest thing that I get from her. She's just not sincere. She says one thing, she does another. She talked about how she sacrificed. The thing is, too selfish. That's what it is. She's just too selfish. Because she talked about how she sacrificed her dog. He sacrificed his entire dog to be in this relationship where a woman just said, I don't even know if I want to be in this relationship, or I don't see myself married to you. You tell us. Justin's story has been consistent throughout the entire thing. His emotional reactions have not been great all the time, but she goes around saying, "Oh, I'm right," right? She never takes accountability. She never says or fesses up or really admits her part in the situation. She always tries to turn it around. And even Dr. Pia, right? She was feeling attacked by Dr. Pia and Justin. Were telling her, "Hey, why are you trying to go out every night or every weekend? You're in a marriage, right?" But she's still like, "Well, I feel attacked. This discussion is not healthy for or conducive for my mental health." And I'm just like, "Okay, girl. Okay. Be careful." So, someone was talking about how men manipulate and how women manipulate. And I got to say, yes, this is a form of manipulation. Women manipulate through it's like emotions and words, like that in that way, passive aggressive, very much so. If a woman is willing to be direct and honest, she'll just be direct and honest about what she feels. But if she's manipulating you, she'll be confusing. So my recommendation to anyone in a partnership like that or someone to like Justin is listen to your instincts. He's very sensitive. He's very intuitive. His emotions are all over the place because he's picking up on the fact that this woman does not want to be in this relationship. He's known this. He's sensed this. He hasn't actually heard it from her until now. But now that he's hearing it, he's just like, oh, okay. Because he was holding on to hope. He's like, if I do everything and then some, then maybe we can make this work. He's holding on to hope. But now it's becoming very discouraging. The way the two of them interact, it is very unhealthy. I think, again, his reactions are not great. I think she is emotionally drained from the situation, but at the same time, she has to take full accountability for what she wants. I think as far as her being ready for a marriage, I was saying either she's not ready or I was saying something else, but I don't think she's ready because she said she's not ready. There you go. She said she's not ready. She's still holding on to her previous, wanting to be single again, her single lifestyle, like aggressively, like holding on to it for dear life and telling him that, oh, how dare you try to suffocate me. So that's manipulation. Alexis was pointing out that he was manipulating her, yet at the same time, at every point in time, she's taking every opportunity to manipulate him. That's another dangerous thing. I've spoke about this on my channel before. The most dangerous manipulators are the ones who are not self-aware. They're the ones who do it without realizing they're doing it. They have no self-awareness. They just do it. It's like a survival instinct. I switch around and I maneuver and I manipulate things to make me feel powerful. The great woman. Be the great woman. That's why I'm like, you gotta watch out for that. Because without honesty and integrity and true sincerity, um, this attitude of I'm great really can Someone can use it to their benefit to hurt other people. So yeah, as far as Justin and Alexis goes, yeah, it's been like this. Their relationship from the beginning has just been like, it's kind of like a crash and burn experience. Um, Justin, again, here's my thing: when someone's story is consistent, I hear you. I can see your truth. His story is consistent. I want to be in this marriage. I'm attracted to you. I'm dedicated to you. I'll do whatever I need to do to make this work. Alexis, I want to be with you. Now I don't want to be with you. I want to be with you. Now I don't want to be with you. What you doing, girl? What you doing? This is what I'm talking about. This is like little girl energy trying to play a grown woman's games. If you think of yourself as a grown woman, but you have the mentality of an immature person, it can be very dangerous. Okay, so that's Alexis and Justin for you guys. I mean, we can kind of dive into the intimacy parts for a second. So apparently she's pulled away. She also said at one point that he was celibate and he was having issues, and I don't know what the whole story is. It's very confusing to me. But yeah, there is something there. There is something there. I was saying there was something amiss. I guess that's what the thing is, right? That the attraction, the manipulation, she's not being honest with herself. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next couple. Who's our next couple? Is it Nate and Stacia? Yeah. So Nate and Stacia, the thing that keeps coming up in their discussions is trust. And the intimacy, the physical intimacy experience that they had in the show, I thought was spicy. Very, very spicy for a Lifetime. Okay, so trust. I liked how they both had that honest conversation about trust. And I was talking about this a couple of reviews ago where I was saying, how do you guys see trust? Do you see it as something you just give it? And then it's like the minute someone starts showing you reason not to trust them, it starts to taper away? Or do you start from like ground zero? I just feel like it's either way, it's always a building process. There's layers, it's a building process. Like I can trust you as far as this much, and then this much, and then this much, and then this much. But yeah, I wonder how else that trust would or is showing up in the relationship amongst the two of them. She says she just doesn't trust people, and that sounds like because people have broken her trust. So, what would I say to that if your trust has been broken? I mean, it starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with this is why I believe in the higher power. This is why I believe in prayer and why I believe in just learning how to trust God, trust in that, trust in the divine plan, trust in the bigger vision, because there are a lot of things that are happening around us. I wouldn't say are out of our control because we can, to some degree, we can choose how we respond. We have free will, but there are a lot of things that we can't really control. So it's okay, yes. Look, I said that and I forgot that they were talking about control and trust with Dr. Pia. Yeah, so it's for her, trust is connected to control because she's like a bit of a control freak in some ways. Like she tries to control situations to get a specific outcome that she's desiring. And I mean, that's going to take the romance out of your relationship really quick. It's going to take the romance out of your relationship if you're trying to statistically control the variables of your relationship. It's a turn off for, especially for guys, because they're already in their logical mind in life and at work. With you, they don't want to do that. If they have to like do 1 + 1 with you, it's just like, it's a lot of energy. And it's the same kind of energy they've already experienced with their coworkers and their, I don't know, their coworkers and maybe their guy friends to some degree. What I have to say with trust, I think Stacia and Nate are moving, they're on the right path. I think there's a lot of there's a lot for them to put in. There's a lot of work for them to put into the relationship. So long as they're willing to put it in, it's going to work out. I like Nate's insight. He seems to see things very, very clearly. And I liked his response about the Morgan and Ben situation, which I'll get to later. But the way he was communicating about their relationship to Dr. Pia, and he was saying, if you can't trust me, it's going to drive me crazy at some point. And that's true because it's going to show up. It's going to show up when you have kids. Oh, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, let's not buy that house. Let's buy that one. Yeah. She's going to have to learn how to relinquish that. And I've already brought it up like in the I think it was the second review. I feel that Stacia should meet up with a dating coach or a feminine energy coach so she can just learn how to work with that. Because part of the trust as well is part of the feminine energy that's needing to be healed, the feminine moon within her that's needing to be healed. I think if she does that work to heal that, and also her relationship with her dad. She said, I don't have any relationship with this man. I don't want his name. Let me take my husband's name. That didn't sound very, there was closure there. So I it's kind of beyond my depth, but you want to end I can tell sometimes when the way that they talk about certain relationships, it's not healed. And I'm like, you want to at least heal it, because if you don't heal it, you're going to take it on into your next relationship. You're going to take it when you raise your kids, it's going to affect your relationship with your kids. So don't think it's not going to affect. That's why we do the healing, is because it affects everything else. It affects how we feel about ourselves, our self-esteem, our relationships, our experience when we're raising our children, our kids. So that is just something you have to heal that. You have to heal that. You cannot get away from trying to, or run away from trying to heal that. So let's go ahead and talk about our final couple, Morgan and Ben. Now, Morgan and Ben's situation, there really isn't much to say or add on, because Morgan is exactly where she was at before, and so is Ben. The therapy session that they had with Dr. Pia was very disappointing because nothing was resolved. Morgan specified that she needed an emotional apology from Ben. I'm just like, what do you want? What do you want this man to do? You want him to just give you everything? It's ridiculous. So her trauma is very, very intense. It's very much present in this experience because, like I said before, you don't even know this man. She said her character was assassinated. The irony is that she's trying to assassinate his character at every chance that she gets. And unfortunately, all she's doing is making herself look bad, as you can see on Twitter and all over the internet. It's not cute, girl. It's not looking cute. It's not pretty. Now, my recommendation to someone who's in Morgan's situation is getting a little bit more self-awareness by why you're so upset about this situation. Why you're so upset, why you feel the need to react to this extent about this whole drama with Ben. Why do you need him to be so apologetic? Why abuse the situation? Why hold this control or power over him? What is it making you feel? And I would ask her, hey, is that making you feel better? Okay. You want him to apologize. You keep telling him to apologize, and he's apologizing. You want him to do this. You're telling everybody he's terrible. You're saying he lost your trust. Tell me, when you get lost in that cycle, that storm, does that make you feel good? How's that making you feel? Oh, I feel so great that I'm keep blaming this guy for all of these problems and making him feel guilty. And I feel so great when I keep talking about how he assassinated my character. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If you want to stay in the Shakespearean play, you can keep starring it. But honey, that show ended hours ago. And people have already gone and walked and went home. It's over. The curtains have closed. How long do you want to continue to draw this out? So we really need to think, is it really worth it to be involved in all of this drama, to keep, stretching it out? What's really going on? Do you actually want to resolve the problem, or do you just want to complain? Are you addicted to suffering? Are you addicted to drama? Does this control actually make you feel in control when you're saying, hey, you apologize to me, and he's saying, I'm sorry? I don't feel like you've apologized to me. What the heck does that mean? You don't feel it. Why don't you just take it and go? Give him a break. Give him a break. Um, so like something else that's playing a part in this is privilege. There's a little bit of privilege. There's a lack of, again, awareness when it comes to how we socialize, how we connect to people. Sometimes people have, I don't know, maybe it depends on your experience and what you've been through. But I feel like to some degree, some people, they just lack the awareness to know when they're being super stubborn and ridiculous about something. Like, oh, I deserve to be mad. I deserve an apology from you. There's some kind of, again, it's like power, control, hierarchy, domination thing going on. And it's just sad. She was, crying the tears, playing the victim. The thing is, she's playing the victim, but she really believes she's the victim. That's the dangerous part. Now, on Ben's side of the situation, he is not standing up for himself. He admitted he's not one to be confrontational. He doesn't like confrontation. And unfortunately, that's going to get him into a pickle at every single turn, because confrontation, conflict is just a part of life, period. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I got distracted. So he's avoiding the issue, and by avoiding the issue and not resolving it, he's keeping himself in this cycle. So that's the other side to the equation. Everyone's upset for Ben, but if Ben doesn't stand up for himself, Nate can say everything that he wants and be like, no, I think Morgan's just drawing this out. I don't think she's really wants to work this out. Yeah, if Ben doesn't stand up for himself and say something, and he doesn't say something to Dr. Pia, how can anyone help him? How can anyone help you, Ben, if you don't stand up for yourself? You have to believe in yourself. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to advocate for yourself more than anything, because people aren't going to just advocate for you. You got to advocate for yourself. Even if you're the shyest, most sensitive person, it doesn't matter. You can't escape it. You always have to, life will keep pushing at you. I've had to learn this. Will keep pushing at you until you learn to speak up for yourself. If you don't own your truth and speak up for yourself, you're going to get lost in that. Ben mentioned that Morgan felt like his father to him. Not surprised at all. She feels like his father to him. She reminded him of his father. So I hope he really goes into therapy about that and works through those issues. He has a lot of self-awareness, but again, that fear of the confrontation is more intense than his desire to actually work through. So it's that's also something we need to think about. Sometimes we have the self-awareness, but we're so scared that we're not willing to actually work through the problems, and then we just find ourselves stuck in it time and time again. So I'm like, okay, use that self-awareness to evolve. So wisdom is when you take the self-awareness and you apply it. You apply the knowledge to your situation and you grow. That's wisdom. All right, now for my next fun part, I'm gonna go ahead and look at your guys' comments here on my channel. By the way, it is my birthday that I'm shooting this on. Hopefully I upload this really quick, but it's been a busy week, so let's go ahead and see this. So first, someone said, I'm 61 and I would fly a kite. What's wrong with that? Exactly. What is wrong with flying a kite, Alexis? Okay. Girl, we upset. Someone said, I'm happy to see Kristen's and Mitch growth. I believe that they can make it. Yes. Kristen and Mitch are growing because Kristen and Mitch are honest and face their ish. And I think out of all the couples, Dr. Pia commented during their therapy session that, wow, you guys pushed through it. You guys worked through your ish. You confronted it. You spoke your truth and you admitted your wrongs. Now let's apply what we learn to our situation. Someone said, I tend to distrust Lindy. I cannot forget Insurance Gate and how she became a different person. Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. Yes. I remember Miguel's friend asking her if she really found Miguel so funny because she laughs at everything he says. Oh, that is really good insight. I believe that she's playing a game to get what she wants. I do not trust her. I do not believe that she is 100% honest. We will wait and see. You know what? who knows these days who to trust, who not to trust, because last time I was totally falling for Alexis love affair with Justin, only to realize that she has no. The thing is, she was convincing because I think she actually did feel it, but she wasn't being fully honest. And someone also mentioned when it came to Alexis, isn't it interesting how she totally changed when she got back home? And someone mentioned that maybe it was her friends who were influencing her when it came to this relationship, and her friends were telling her, "Hey, let's go out. You can find another person," or something like that. So I wonder how you guys feel about that. Okay. So as far as trusting Lindy, Lindy gives me weird vibes. I'm not gonna lie. I tend to be really good judge of character. So sometimes I like feel some even with Alexis, I felt that too, like that energy. But I guess because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, I'm just like, okay, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I want to like you, right? I want to just like appreciate you and see you for who you are. And I hope I'm not being biased. But I tend to be right about people and certain things, like certain habits. But things fluctuate on the show because sometimes you see like really good qualities and then sometimes you see really negative qualities. But yeah, I kind of get that interesting that vibe with Lindy too. I don't know if I would trust her as well, but you just don't know. You just like with Stacia and Nate, you got to build trust and you got to see how people react, and that's it. Okay, so there are some other comments. I had a video that I posted and then I had to repost because I was having issues with the volume. But I think the comments got deleted, which let me see. Yeah, it did. So that was unfortunate because someone said something really insightful. I wanted to respond to that. Okay, so that is my review for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I kind of wanted to make it quick. Was that quick? I wanted to make it quick because I want to get through like straight through the points because now we're just seeing like repetitive behavior, so we can get straight to the points each week. Like what changed, what shifted, what's different, how are they growing? As far as all the couples go, I think Nate and Stacia seem like they're on the up and up, and I think Kristen and Mitch have a genuine friendship. I don't know if romantically they're going to evolve. Lindy and Miguel, they're cute together, but I worry about Lindy's immaturity. Morgan and Ben is not going to happen at all. Alexis and Justin, I don't think it's going to happen either. There's too much drama. There's too much exhaustion. She's already expressed how exhausted she is. We're exhausted watching it, so I just don't think it's going to happen at all, or it's going to be able to proceed forward. So, yeah, that's how I feel about this episode. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or evening, and I'll be back for another review.